Hello, welcome. This is a brief video on the political opinion research script. This is a script that we'll be using this week. I want to walk through this script. I want to show you how I would do it, how I would read the script, how I wouldn't pause, how I'd answer the questions, and then I want to go back and then look at different events or different things that could happen with the caller on the line and show you some of the ways that I would handle it. We're going to look through the dispositions, and we're going to look through other conditions. So if I'm reading this script, I would simply say, "Hello, I'm Joe, calling with the Political Opinion Research, a respected national research firm with a short survey about issues facing Pennsylvania. First, how likely are you to vote in the 2016 November election? Certain to vote? Are you very likely? Somewhat likely? Not very likely? If the election for president were today, who would you vote for? Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Gary Johnson, or some other candidate? If the election for U.S. Senate were today, would you vote for Pat Toomey, the Republican, or Katie Magenti, the Democrat? Have you seen, read, or heard that millionaire Katie Magenti has backed middle-class tax hikes totaling over $3,000 per household? And finally, for demographic purposes only, what is your age? 18 to 25, 26 to 35, 36 to 45, 46 to 55, 56 to 61, or over 62? This completes our survey. Thank you for your time. Then I'd come up and disposition the call as completed call, and I'd click OK. Now, a lot of these were pre-filled for me, and it's just because this is a training video. Obviously, on your record, none of those will be pre-filled, and you would have to fill them on. Each and every new record will not be pre-filled. You'll have to fill them in. So let's look at different conditions that can happen. When I'm connected to the voter, it's very possible as soon as I start reading this script, "Hello, I'm Joe, calling with Political Opinion Research," it's very possible that the caller would just hang up on me. Doesn't want anything to do with me. You're going to have some of these. Because they hung up before you read the first question, you're going to disposition the call as an IR break. The IR break simply means it's an initial refusal. So you're going to come to this window, you're going to click Initial Refusal, you're going to click OK. Your next script will pop up. You'll just read it again. "Hello, I'm Joe. I'm calling with the Political Opinion Research, a respected national research firm with a short survey about issues facing Pennsylvania." Again, anywhere that they hang up on you, or if they say remove from calling list or anything like that, before you get to this very first question, disposition this call as an initial refusal. Click OK, bring the next record up. "Hello, I'm Joe. I'm calling with a Political Opinion Research, a respected national research firm with a short survey about issues facing Pennsylvania. First, how likely are you to vote in the 2016 November election? Are you certain to vote? Very likely, somewhat likely, or not very likely?" Notice I didn't read these following three choices. "Yes, I'm certain to vote," says the caller. You're going to mark certain to vote. If the election for president were today, who would you vote for? Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, or Gary Johnson, or some other candidate? Notice I didn't read these other two choices. This also tells me to rotate my responses. That simply means when I'm going through these scripts one after another, we don't want to say Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Gary Johnson, or some other candidate. We want to rotate that when we can. When the next script comes in, maybe we say something like Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Gary Johnson, or some other candidate. And then the next script comes in, maybe we say something like Gary Johnson, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, or some other candidate. You're just rotating them. What you're not going to do is rotate this particular one, because it doesn't make sense to say that. So imagine if you're the voter and you heard, "If the election for president were today, who would you vote for?" Or some other candidate, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, or Gary Johnson. So it doesn't make sense to throw that in there. You would actually throw the first three candidates in there. If the election for president were today, who would you vote for? Donald Trump, Gary Johnson, Hillary Clinton, or some other candidate. Does that make sense? If the election for U.S. Senate were today, would you vote for Pat Toomey? And Toomey is spelled out here. So phonetically spelling Toomey is to-me, the Republican, or Katie Magenti. They also give you a phonetic spelling for Katie Magenti. So it's Mick, Jen, we know it's Jen because it's like 10, and then T. So Katie Magenti, the Democrat. Here's also a particular case where we're not actually reading the responses. We're going to wait for the voter to actually respond to us. If the election for U.S. Senate were today, would you vote for Pat Toomey, the Republican, or Katie Magenti, the Democrat? Wait for the response. I think I'm going to vote for Pat Toomey. Are you definitely voting for Pat Toomey, or are you leaning towards that candidate? I'm definitely voting for Pat Toomey. Perfect. If the election for U.S. Senate were today, would you vote for Pat Toomey, the Republican, or Katie Magenti, the Democrat? I really don't know what. I think I'm going to vote for Katie. Are you definitely voting for Katie, or are you leaning towards Katie? I'm leaning towards Katie. Thank you. Have you seen, read, or heard that millionaire Katie Magenti has backed middle-class tax hikes totaling over $3,000 per household? Again, on this particular one, we're not reading it. We're waiting for their response. Yeah, I've seen it. Great. And finally, for demographic purposes only, what is your age? Read these different groups: 18 through 25, 26 to 35, 36 or 45. Here, though, most voters will actually tell you their age. I'm 44, and then just go ahead and put it whatever box that they have. Go on to the next question. This next question, though, is not really a question for the candidate. It's more by observation. You're going to, through your observation, indicate whether they're a male or female. Then you're going to close the survey. This completes our survey. Thank you for your time. Now with this, you're going to cut out all the banter that we normally would have when we're talking to somebody. It's important that you cut this survey exactly to how it says. This completes our survey. Thank you for your time. We don't really want to waste a lot of time with other aspects. We don't want to say things like, well, great, thank you for doing this with me. You've been very patient. I hope you had a great day. You just want to go, this completes our survey. Thank you for the time. You're going to hear them say stuff like, well, thank you. I appreciate all your hard work and stuff like that. All I want you guys to do is, this completes our survey. Thank you for your time. You're going to go up, you're going to complete the call, and you're going to click OK. Now that sounds rude, but it's you're trying to get to the next record. I mean, you stated what you said to the voter that you wanted to do. You got through the survey, you thanked him for the time, and you went to the next record. So let's handle some other things. Hello, I'm Joe. I'm calling with a political opinion research, a respected national research firm with a short survey about issues facing Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, I just don't have time to do this. Sir, it's only 5 questions. Your answers are very important. This is your chance to make your opinion heard. First, how likely are you to vote in the 2016 November election? Are you certain to vote? Very likely, somewhat likely, not very likely? You know, I don't really get into all that stuff. I don't think I'm very likely to vote. If the elections for president were today, who would you vote for? Again, rotate these responses. Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Gary Johnson, or some other candidate. See, what I'm doing here is that the caller told me that he didn't have a lot of time, and I give him a soft rebuttal. I just said, sir, your answers are very important today. Or I said, sir, there's only 6 questions here. Actually, there's 5, right? Because this last question is an observation question. So there's only 5 questions, and then I went directly into the first question. How likely are you to vote in November of the elections? So again, let's repeat that. Hello, I'm Joe. I'm calling with a political opinion research, a respected national research firm with a short survey about issues facing Pennsylvania. Oh, I'm sorry, I just don't have time. The answers are very important to us. This is only 5 questions. It will only take a few seconds. First, how likely are you to vote in the 2016 November election? Just go right back into the survey. Who are you calling on behalf of? I'm calling on behalf of the political opinion research. First, how likely are you to vote in the 2016 November election? Go right back to the script. Go right back to the questions. Get through the questions as you can and disposition accordingly. Now dispositions, most of your dispositions are going to be completed call, initial refusal. You will get some wrong households. When you call up and say, hi, you're looking for Jeff. Is Jeff on the phone? Things like that do happen. Generally though, what we're looking for here is to the first person that answers the phone, if they sound like an adult, and we're going to go straight into it. Hello, I'm Joe. I'm calling with a political opinion research, a respected national research firm. So you're going to go straight to it. Only if they tell you, who are you looking for? You know, I'm looking for Doug, or whatever first name that pops up on the screen. Oh no, it's not Doug. This is, John. This is Roger. Whatever. Oh, is Doug there? Yeah, let me get him. Hello, Doug. I'm Joe. I'm calling with a political opinion research. That's not going to happen a lot. Generally, what you're going to do, the first person that answers the phone, as long as they're an adult, you're going to start reading the survey. Some people will want to be removed from the calling list. Yeah, just remove me from a calling list. If that happens, pick this disposition, click OK. Sometimes you're going to get an answer machine. If an answer machine picks up and the system didn't understand that it was an answer machine, all you're going to do is pick this disposition and you're going to click OK. You're not going to read into the answer machine. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to read the script. You're not going to play a recorded message. You're just going to pick answer machine and then click OK. If you get sometimes a tritone or an operator error, that's a disconnect. You're going to click disconnect and it'll click OK. Deceased is something else you're not probably going to get a lot of because you're not indicating who you're calling for. You're just talking to the person who answered the phone as long as they seem like they're an adult and you're reading the script. Non-English speaking household. If that happens, you're going to pick this disposition and click OK. A blocked call. Sometimes we've heard these. It'll come up and say, please enter 2 to unblock this call. If you hear something like that, that's called a blocked call. You're going to block this, you're going to disposition as blocked call and click OK. These other ones you probably will not disposition, but if something happens and you get a ring no answer, meaning that it just calls and rings and rings and rings, no one picks up, disposition a ring no answer. If the connection is made and it's a busy, again, very, very few of these will happen, you'll click busy and click OK. If they get on the phone and they ask you to call back, here's a callback for you. Reschedule for callback. If you're halfway through the script and something happens or an operator comes on and disconnects the call, you'll click this one and click OK. Again, this is something that's hardly ever going to happen. Most of the time, you're going to see completed calls, initial refusal, you're going to see removed from calling list. Some of you have answering machines. Reschedule for callback will be the majority of different things that you'll have. Alright, well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy your calling and I hope everything goes smoothly, but if not, please email your supervisor or me directly and we'll answer any questions you may have. Thank you.